Hello and welcome to Becoming a Grant Writer. 5 essential shifts needed to develop grant proposals that get funded. I'm Rodney Walker, and I'm thrilled that you decided to join me on today, and I've prepared some valuable information to help you on your journey. Since you've come on time and are here, I want to honor your time by getting straight to business and giving you the valuable content that you are desiring. Who is this for? This is for anyone who's ever wanted to learn how to complete a successful grant application and write grant proposals that actually get funded. If you want to discover what it takes to become a grant writer, then this is especially for you. With that said, I want to invite you right now to just focus. By that I mean, do me a favor and just turn off the cell phone, remove all distractions, and maybe stop multitasking. Maybe you need to tell people in the next room over, hey, I'm going to be on this webinar for the next hour and I want to dial in. So I want to encourage you to listen very carefully because the information I'm going to share with you has the power to be very transformative. And if you'll take it to heart, it will help you like it's helped so many others. With that said, in the next 45 minutes, you will learn the most effective ways to master the art of developing winning grant proposals that get funded again and again without wasting lots of aimless time and energy. You're going to discover the shortcut that places you on the road to becoming a grant writer and winning grants worth thousands and yes, even millions of dollars. I'm talking out of experience from myself in writing grant proposals and the numerous people that I've been able to help to learn this valuable skill. I'm talking out of real life experience. And with that said, I want to first let you know that you can relax because I have nothing for sale on today. In fact, I want to encourage you to stick around because I actually have a gift for you if you stick around to the very end of this webinar. And it's a gift that has a great dollar value onto it as well. It's a gift that I normally reserve for my clients, but I'm going to be providing it for you if you'll stick around to the end. With that said, does this sound like you? Do you feel like life is slowly passing you by and you want to make a bigger impact by doing something meaningful that helps others while also helping yourself? Do you feel that you have a sense that you've possibly been boxed in with your career and believe that learning the skill of grant writing can open new doors of opportunities for you? Do you secretly want more for yourself and believe that you haven't fully applied yourself the way that you know that you can to reach those higher goals that you have? And do you want to have greater freedom to control your time, career, and earning potential and believe that your knowledge of grant writing can help you to do this? Do you know that you are worth more than you are currently being compensated and want to remove that invisible glass ceiling that's holding you back? Well, let's talk about what the problem is. There is a problem, but the real problem is not necessarily any of those things. The real problem is that you haven't discovered the secret that empowers you to make the shift. And our time today is going to be about helping you to know exactly what you need to do to make that shift. In fact, you've come to the right place if this is what you're in desire of. You see, once this happens, it's going to change your world and it's going to have you on a new path. Once you make this happen, you're going to have the unique ability to develop grant proposals that get funded for your projects or any worthy project that you choose to work on. In fact, you're going to become more attractive to prospective clients or even employees because you're going to have the keys in your hands that will open the grant money vault whenever you want. You're going to have greater freedom to really design your career to become more profitable because you're going to have the necessary insight to bring in larger sums of money to organizations in need of your special knowledge. You know, I get really excited when I think about what this opportunity for you has to offer because there's so much once you get this special knowledge. In fact, there are 3 simple shifts that you need to make right now to become a grant writer and develop winning proposals that get funded. And I'm going to show you exactly how those shifts can happen and what you need to do to make them happen in your life. With that said, who am I? Who is this guy talking to you? Well, as I said, I'm Rodney Walker. I'm the founding president of Grant Central USA. And we conduct trainings nationwide, helping numerous organizations. And some of our clients have included the likes of Magic Johnson Foundation, George W. Bush Foundation, United Way, Boys and Girls Clubs, YWCA and YMCAs, and hundreds of governmental agencies all over. I'm considered one of the leading industry experts in grant development systems, and I've been featured in over 200 grant and business training videos. I've also help others raise over $150 million, and I've been an affiliate faculty member of Regis University. I've also helped to produce and found the Education Grants Conference and the First Responders Grants Conference, and been able to have a wonderful career of working and meeting many celebrities, from Snoop Dogg to working with the likes of Laura James, season number 19 winner of America's Top Model, even getting a chance to share the platform and speak with governmental leaders such as Rod Page and various superintendents. I've had the opportunity to interview those like Mac Brown, Texas Longhorns winning coach, and other champions such as NBA champions such as Matt Bourne and Draymond Green and JaVale McGee and numerous others. I've even had the opportunity to kind of dance with the stars some and work with choreographers such as Christian Perry and others. I've had an opportunity to interview like Heisman Trophy winners, people that have been at the top of their game, such as Reggie Bush and even Charles Woodson. And my career has also allowed me to meet the likes of Les Brown, various motivational speakers, and sharing the stage with various educational leaders and thought leaders across this nation. I've had an opportunity to connect with the likes of Ahoda and many others. But when I first started with grants, I was very clueless. And my journey led me down this path that I want to share with you. So what's my story? It kind of goes like this. I was wanting to learn grants because I was working for a nonprofit. And I never will forget being at this nonprofit, and we had a contracted grant writer. Now, this contracted grant writer would go around to the various directors. I was one of 3 directors. She would come around to us and she would ask us questions about our programs. And I would share the information about my program, and the others would do the same. And she would take that information, write it, compile it, put it into a proposal form. She would submit it to a funder, and within 2 to 3 months, she would be coming back to us, letting us know that we had just gotten funded. And I was blown away that somebody could write down something on paper, and then somebody in turn look at what they wrote and then say, hey, I'm going to give you some paper, some green paper. That totally blew me away. And I never will forget asking her, hey, will you show me how to do this? And she was like, no, Rodney, I'm not giving you my cheese. I'm not giving you my money, my contracted gig. And I was thinking at the time about how I could have greater influence and be able to help those young people that I was working with. She at the time was thinking about job security, trying to protect her job from me and others. So she wasn't really willing to share that information with me. I never forget asking a few other people and kind of had the same experience. So no one was really willing to share that information with me. But what I decided to do was just to dive into the process. And I never forget, I was getting information all over the internet trying to write my very first proposal. And I wrote a proposal that took me what seemed like forever to write. I mean, it was over a month and a half, it seemed like. But I was piecemealing because I didn't know what I was doing, getting bits of information here and there, putting together what was like a Frankenstein of a grant proposal. Never will forget, I submitted that grant proposal. It was for $25,000 to the Hogg Foundation in Austin, Texas. And I submitted it, and in about a month later, I go to the mailbox and there is the letter. And I'm excited, nervous, all of that. Never forget opening that letter. And once I opened that letter, come to find out that my proposal was rejected. Yes, I fell flat on my face. They told me, no, we're not going to fund you. But at the very end of that letter, the senior program officer made mention that, hey, if you'd like to come in to discuss the problem areas with your proposal, I'll be happy to meet with you. And I took her up on that meeting. That meeting really was transformative for me. I never got any money from that foundation, but I never will forget how important that meeting was. It was pivotal for me because I ended up from there moving to California, where I now reside. And this time I said, you know what? I still really want to learn this skill because I knew if I could learn this skill that I could be a valuable asset, not only for myself, but for the many nonprofit organizations that I would be serving. So this time I decided, hey, I'm going to do it a little bit smarter. So I decided to enroll into school, and I was in a graduate program where I decided to do an MBA that had a focus in nonprofit management. So I started focusing in on grants as well as fundraising, because I knew that if I could learn how to get the cheese, I could get the cheese for so many organizations and I could help them. So I didn't give up. but I kept on going. Eventually, I learned how to write successful grant proposals. And in the course of my many studies from various organizations, various top flight universities such as Duke, studying at USC, studying at Cal Poly University, and several other places, and literally becoming a sponge, grabbing every bit of information I could, I eventually learned how to write successful grant proposals. And one day my professor said, hey, you seem like you really have a knack for this. Have you ever thought about doing this as a consultant? And at the time, that was the farthest thing from my mind. But I started sharing information with others. And before you know it, they started becoming successful and winning proposals as well. And I have so many people that I've been able to help. I'm going to share some of them with you because I want you to see what's actually possible. So that was some of my journey. And even though I started out being clueless, probably like you right now, I was able to have a wonderful experience, and I want to show you what's possible, and I want to help you to avoid some of those common mistakes so that you can get to your goal as quickly as possible. And with that said, let's talk about why grant writing and becoming a grant writing is so popular. You see, those who get this skill will have a great sense of autonomy. In fact, they're going to have great flexibility and have the ability to earn good income. This is also a very popular sector, and people like being grant writers because you have the option in a lot of cases to possibly work from home. And then there are numerous other career options in doing grant development as well. It's not simply just grant writing. There are other opportunities that are so fascinating that many people are simply unaware of. Now, there are nearly 2 million nonprofits in the United States, even over that. In fact, it's one of the major ways that nonprofits raise money. So I've yet to meet any nonprofit that has all the money that they need. So when they hear that you are a grant writer, trust me, their eyes light up. And it has the ability to make you even more attractive to potential or even your current employees that you're working with now. Now, the average salary for a grant writer in 2008, according to ZipRecruiter, was $64,178. Now, as you see in this chart, there's some that made less than that, and there are even others that made up to $100,000 or more. And I know personally of other grant writers that are making a lot more than that. But the national average was around $64,000. And this is typical of someone that's actually working for an organization. Now, those that I know that have made far more than 100,000 were those that were doing this as freelance or independent grant writers that were doing contract work for numerous organizations. So the potential is there. Now, grant writing fees and services, what does that look like? Grant writers can typically earn upwards of $3,000 or more for an 8 to 10 page proposal that's typically prepared for a foundation. Anywhere from between $5,000 to $12,000 or even more for government proposals because those tend to be longer. Now, you kind of have a quick glimpse of why people are interested in becoming grant writers, and I'm just giving you a quick overview so that you know some of those things. But really, I want to tell you about these shifts. And the reason I want to tell you about these shifts is because to become a grant writer and to be able to write grants that get funded over and over again for large amounts, it's going to take you making those essential shifts in your life. And I want to share with you what those 5 shifts are like because I've seen this happen over and over again for those that have done it at a very high level. So let's look at the shifts. The first shift is that the shift that you've got to make is that when you get these shifts, it's going to be a shift that's going to help you holistically and in numerous ways. But there are 5 simple shifts that you need to make to become a grant writer, and it's going to help you. And I'm going to share with you exactly what those are in our session, all 5 of them. So here's the first one. The first shift is that you've got to realize that nearly everything that you probably think it takes to win lots of grant money is most likely wrong. Yes, it's most likely wrong. And the reason that I know this is because I've had the pleasure of teaching literally hundreds and hundreds of people all the way from Alaska to Hawaii how to do this at a very high level. And 97% of the people that we've trained, my team and I, were clueless as to what it really took to win grant money. In fact, they were just like I was. You see, I think Coloni is right, and she says here that you think that you know what you're doing, but you don't know what you don't know. And that's so true, because none of us were born with a special grant writing gene that helps us to automatically know what we need to do to win this money. So what you're presently thinking that it probably takes to win the money and lots of money over and over again, most likely, my friend, is actually wrong. In fact, many mistakenly believe that preparing a winning grant is mostly based upon writing a nice proposal. And they're totally ignorant in most cases to all of the other important factors that are required to prepare a successful proposal that gets funded. You see, there are a lot of things behind the scenes that we just don't know. And I'm going to teach you the system to unlocking that grant money vault to successfully develop those proposals. And when you get this right, everything changes. I mean, literally everything changes, because it's so powerful, because these keys will unlock grant money, and you'll know exactly what you need to do to make that happen. You see, when you get this right, you're going to get greater confidence and esteem. You're going to create more career opportunities for yourself, and you're going to have the abilities to win money at any time. And that is a very powerful feeling. You're going to become irresistible to prospective clients and employers, because they all need more money to run their organizations. And you're going to live a more fulfilling life because of the meaningful contribution that you're going to be able to make by helping so many people. Now, when you get this wrong, there are also some factors. And here's what happened. You begin to inhibit your own growth and esteem, because you're not doing all that you can. You're going to limit your career opportunities, and you're going to reinforce the invisible glass ceiling in your own life. And that's tragic. I mean, tragic to do something like that. You won't have the abilities to win the grant money again and again anytime that you want, and then life will be less meaningful than it could be otherwise. You see, your life can change when you make these simple shifts, just like the shift that I've given you so far. So here's the proof. The proof is in the pudding. And here's Kathleen, who was writing grant proposals, and none of them were getting funded. I never forget, she told me, hey, I was writing, I was bumping my head against the wall. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. In fact, she was using the old method of grant writing. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But her grant proposals were getting rejected and rejected and rejected. And after she got my system, things changed. So much so that she made this shift, and that shift resulted in $400,000 in less than 6 months. In fact, she goes on and she wrote me and basically let me know, hey, thank you again for what you shared in the grant writing class. I took your advice. Last Wednesday, we received notification that the Foundation Board has approved our proposal of $400,000. You see, that shift brought about that change. She had to let go of what she thought that she knew that she was doing, which was really the old way of writing grants. And she had to get some new information in, and that new information was one of those shifts. You see, that was one of the shifts that she took, and it's one of the shifts that you'll have to take if you're going to really learn what it takes to become a successful grant writer that gets funded. Let me tell you about the second shift. The second shift is that you have to abandon the old and outdated methods for getting grant money, because they're ineffective and, truthfully, they're quite inefficient. They waste so much time. So you have to abandon those old ways. In fact, when you abandon the old ways, let me explain to you first of all what those old ways are. Those old ways are simply thinking that you can just read the guidelines and just apply. Basically aimlessly sending proposals to as many funders as possible. I'm sending them here and there. I'm just going to send it and hopefully one of them will stick. Telling your prospective funder what you want and thinking that that's simply enough. Or maybe you're thinking that grant writing is primarily the thing that influences the decision makers. Maybe you're thinking that, hey, it's just whatever I write, that's going to be the main factor that's going to influence them. And I want to let you know right now, my friend, that is not the case. In fact, if you're doing grant writing like this old way, this is really crossing your fingers grant writing. This is like you trying to be lucky, and that's not going to get you to where you really want to go. In fact, I want to give you a secret alert right now. Nearly 100% of the training on the market today will teach you how to only do grant writing. They won't teach you how to implement a grant development campaign. In fact, you probably never even heard of that before. then if you want to be successful, let me tell you this. This has been one of the secret keys to many of my students' tremendous success. They've learned the secret of what it takes to develop a grant development campaign. In fact, it's one of the things that will give you a high competitive edge. So let's talk about this new way. We've looked at the old way. Let me tell you about the new way. The new way is what I just said, is basically developing a grant development campaign. And by grant development campaign, I'm saying that you're going to learn what you need to do to search for the right potential funders. I mean, like narrowing down those funders that are the best fit and then crafting a well-developed proposal. Now, there's so much more that goes into all this, but I just want to kind of give you a glimpse, because you've got to have a proven system that's going to get you the results that you really want. Because we're talking about the new way. We're talking about grant writing in the Google age, where things shift. And things are a lot different than those old ways. With that said, the old way, there's an old way to acquiring this skill. I mean, like actually the skill of becoming a grant professional. You know, there are some ways. Here's some ways that many people in times past have relied on to learning the skill. Some are just simply being promoted to a position of being a grant writer and learning on the job. That is one way to actually acquire the skill. There's others that are simply saying, hey, you know, getting lucky enough to get a decent internship with an organization that will help them. The only problem with this is that most of the people that are training you really haven't been trained themselves, and so they're sharing information from a limited perspective. That's another big problem. The other real problem with this is that some people have with the old way is they get lucky and they think, hey, you know what, if I can be at the right place at the right time and have a veteran train me over time, that would be great. And I want to say to you, if you're dependent on that, you need to grab that lucky rabbit's foot right now, because that's depending on a lot of luck. That's kind of like the old way of acquiring the skill. But there's some new ways and some better ways that can help you. In fact, the new way to learning this skill is getting the absolute best information that's available. And, you know, today in this time that we live in, there's so much information available, and you owe it to yourself to get the best, and after getting the best, to put your knowledge to action. You see, not just hearing information, but taking the information and then immediately putting it to action, and then being coached and guided along the way. It's like trying to learn how to ride a bike. You want to have somebody show you and then train you and walk with you in that process to make sure that once you fall, that you have the encouragement, the accountability to say, hey, get back up. Let's try this again. And that's one of the best ways to do it in our time frame. You see, when you do it this way, it really removes all the guesswork. And that's what you want. You want to do this with confidence. And the new way helps us to do that. In fact, let me give you some proof. You know, Kanoti is a person who was trying to raise $15,000. One of my clients, he was on, at the time, an internship that he had to complete. And to fulfill his internship, he had to raise $15,000. And he wasn't sure what he was going to do. Now, before he met me, he didn't know where to start in his grant pursuit. He had a lack of direction. He didn't have the full confidence that he needed in this, because he didn't know what he was doing. But he did have a desire to learn. And he took action on that desire to learn. Afterwards, I got a chance to coach him and work with him. And I showed him the new way, and he got results. The results that he was actually seeking. He got $15,000 in less than 6 months. In fact, here's what he had to say. He said, last year I was seeking to set up a community youth center. He attended our training, and this was followed by several sessions of one-on-one coaching opportunities. We applied for a setup grant and was awarded $15,000. And he goes on and says some few more things there. But he took action on working things the new way. He got that training. He got that coaching, and it helped to transform the way that he approached getting grants. I want to share with you that third shift that you've got to make, and that is use the secret weapon, because it works like magic and it saves time, energy, and frustration. Now, this is coming from somebody who's been frustrated, who's wasted lots of time and energy. Like I told you a little earlier, when I did my first grant proposal, man, I wasted over a month and a half. I mean, like That was a lot of time and energy. And I came back and I got some frustration as a result of it. But here's what I encourage you to do. Use the secret weapon. And the weapon is much like a recipe. If you have a recipe that you know that works, you want to use it. So follow what works. Get the recipe. After you get the recipe, follow the recipe. And then you can enjoy the benefits of the recipe. Because grant writing is much like this. The smart way to grant writing is following what works. In fact, once you do that, you'll realize that that recipe isn't biased. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care how young you are. It doesn't care if you're new to this. It doesn't even care if you're experienced. It doesn't care if you've had previous failures or not. All it knows is if you follow the steps and do what this recipe says, you will get similar results. So I want to encourage you, as you are looking at what it takes to become a grant writer and what it takes to win again and again, find that secret weapon, those tools, those resources that's going to help you to propel. It will save you time and it will help you to produce that grant cake, and you'll be munching on some good funding that comes over and over again because you're taking action on things that have been proven, and that will save you a lot of time. So get the recipe, follow it, and then you too can get the results. So here's some more proof for you. Here's Kedrell. And I love his story because he was new to grant writing and was working for the city of Redlands at the time as a project manager. Now, before, he was completely clueless. He was just like you and I were when we first started. He didn't know what steps he needed to take. He didn't know what he needed to do, but he got coaching. And as a result of getting the coaching, I got a chance to coach him on some of the ins and outs of grant writing and developing a very powerful grant development campaign. And afterwards, he implemented that system with his team, and he got some incredible results. In fact, here's what he sent me. He says, "Hey, Rodney, thanks again for the grant writing class last month. I know that you like success stories on your belt. Here's another one. Since taking your class, I landed nearly $4 million in state and federal grants for the city of Redlands." You know, he says it was a team effort, but your class really helped. And it thrills me to see somebody who was clueless like this come in, use a recipe, even though he's brand new to this arena, and get some amazing results. My friend, you too can get results if you also follow the recipe. Let's move on to our fourth shift. The fourth shift that I want to encourage you is to leverage your time. Leverage your valuable time for faster and greater results. Now, you can go and fumble your way around in the grant writing experience for the next year and a half trying to just do it on your own. But I wouldn't recommend that because it's not a great way to recognize and value the time that you have. You know, time is the most valuable commodity that we have. Once that 1 second passed, we no longer can reach back and get that 1 second that we just had just a second ago. So it's very valuable. So the faster you can work by leveraging your time and getting greater results, the better it will be for you. In fact, here's Evelyn. I want to share with you what she did. She was a librarian for the University of Texas who was also brand new to grant writing. Now, before I got a chance to work with her, she didn't know where to find grant opportunities. She was clueless. She didn't know what should go inside of a grant proposal, what should not go inside of a grant proposal. She was clueless as well. But afterwards, she followed our recipe to the letter. And I love it because she didn't have to try to figure it out. She just simply had to follow the recipe. And she followed to the letter and got great results. It resulted in $25,000 that she received for our library in less than 6 months. So if you'll do that, it will help you as well. Let me take you to that fifth shift, which is to invest in mentoring. And the reason we want to invest into mentoring is because everybody, and I do mean everybody, should have a mentor. You see, a mentor brings two things. A mentor brings new ideas and accountability. When you need answers, that mentor is there for you to help, to guide you. And there are new ideas that you have right now that's in your head that would not be there if you were not on this webinar. You see, those ideals have the potential and the power to transform how you think, how you act, and what action you actually take. And that's one of the benefits of getting mentoring to help you in your process. Now, a good mentor will give you great ideas and help you to act on them. And I love that because you see, sometimes we're afraid to take that action that we really need to do. But when you have that mentoring can give you those, gentle nudges, those words of encouragement to keep you moving on. Because sometimes we experience failure. Sometimes we have setbacks in achieving our goals. And just the right words, the right nudge can help you. A good mentor will also allow you to tap into the reservoir of their experiences. Now think about it. I've studied this field of grant development, fundraising, grant writing, and I've put well over 10,000 hours and thousands of dollars into gaining this special knowledge that is required to actually do this at a very, very high level. So what happens if you were able to tap into knowledge like that from either myself or some mentor? It's incredible because now you're not starting from ground zero. It's almost like you're playing football and trying to run for a touchdown. Instead of starting way back in the end zone, you're starting with information that your mentor can help you with. So that valuable information saves time and allows you to swim in that reservoir of knowledge to get you where you want to get to going sooner. So I encourage you to get a mentor. In fact, Sarah got some mentoring from our training as well. Now, she was a grant writer previously and she had previous experience putting together proposals, but prior to us, she was actually doing grant writing kind of the old way. And it took her more time to develop, and she also got more rejections as a result of doing things the old way. But afterwards, she started using our new and more comprehensive approach of developing grant campaigns, and as a result, it saved her tremendous time, and she felt more confident, and she got better results to the tune of over $100,000 in less than 3 months. And I love sharing these stories because these stories are real people with their before and after experiences, and their experiences actually help to paint the picture of what's possible. When I was first starting out, I was always excited to hear someone's story, and their stories do the same thing. In fact, she says in that yellow part of this highlight, she says to receive over $100,000 in 3 months because of the efforts of a grant writer is very powerful and makes a huge impact on the confidence of our writer. She got the training, it made an impact, she got that mentoring, and it changed her approach. And so I want to encourage you, don't overlook the power of getting a mentor to help you on your journey as well. With that said, I want to recap what we've talked about so far, because we've talked about some valuable information. And I want to just go back to it. So let's take a look. What you need to do to win. We said, first of all, you've got to realize that nearly everything that you probably think that it takes to win lots of grant money is most likely wrong. I've also shared with you that you've got to abandon the old and outdated methods for getting grant money. And thirdly, I mentioned that you have to use a secret weapon because it works like magic. And fourthly, that you have to leverage your valuable time. Time is money, and we don't want to waste it. And fifthly, I made mention that you've got to invest in mentoring. Now, today, I made a promise to you. And that promise was that you're going to learn the most effective ways to master the art of developing winning grant proposals. And these are proposals that you can get funded again and again without wasting lots of time and aimless energy. I also made mention to you that you're going to discover the shortcut that places you on the road to becoming a grant writer and winning grants worth millions and thousands of dollars. So that's what I promised you. And I've just given you that key. But now, you, my friend, you actually have a choice. Yes, there is a fork in the road. And I want to tell you about this choice. You see, my team and I have set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideals in your life, starting today. And the cost? Well, that's a part of that gift I was saying about. It's absolutely free. In fact, I want to share with you who this is for first, because it's so important that you kind of know that this is not for simply everybody. You see, this is for those who are absolutely committed to hitting their goals. I mean, those that are seriously committed to becoming a grant writer and learning that special knowledge of what it takes to really win grant money. You see, those that we're looking at for this are those who want to do this for their careers or personal development, or someone who's really seeking to break into this industry as a new grant writer. It's really for those that are committed to taking those steps to achieving this meaningful goal that's going to really change your life. Because if you get this information and you apply it, you are going to be able to write those grant proposals. You are going to be able to have the secret knowledge that only a few have, that will allow you to open that grant money vault and get funding for the organizations that you're seeking funding for. You see, you're going to be able to do these things repeatedly, and you're going to have a greater sense of confidence, because now you're going to be approaching this from the standpoint of somebody that's viewed as an expert that knows information that others don't know, and you're going to be able to use it to leverage and be more profitable for yourself and get greater career opportunity options, because what organization doesn't want somebody who knows how to bring in money? You show me one, I'll show you an organization that's no longer relevant. In fact, if you get this information, your life is going to be different. But as I said earlier, if you don't get this information, you are going to have limited opportunities, and that ceiling that we talked about is going to hover over your own self, because you're going to be placing that ceiling, and you're not going to have as meaningful of a life as you could, because you won't be able to make a contribution at this high level. Let me tell you this, I'm talking out of experience. I get so thrilled that I've shared information with people, and those people have taken action, like some of the many people that you saw here, and there are people whose lives have changed that I will never ever see. But the resources that I was able to help someone get is impacting their life. You see, that's that higher goal, that more meaningful, bigger and larger contribution that I'm talking about. And that can happen if you take those choices and choose to move forward. So why are we doing this, Rodney? Why are we doing these calls? Well, on the call, I'm going to help you to get great clarity. I mean, total clarity about exactly what you want to do as a grant writer. And I'm going to show you the exact steps that you need to take to achieve your goal. I've been able to do this so many times and help so many grant writers to get to where they wanted to be. And I'm talking about potential grant writers that were just starting out. And on the call, we're going to help you to get total clarity about exactly what you want to do as it relates to becoming a grant professional, so that you can break into this field. You see, some of you are thinking about doing this as a career. Now, I mean, right now you're looking at, hey, if I can get this skill, you're probably like I was. If I can get this skill, I can maybe either get a new job as a grant writer, or maybe your current job that you have, you can be able to do it at a higher level and get a raise, because now you're able to bring this additional skill set to the table. Some of you may just right now be looking at and working within an organization and simply want to get some grant money for your organization or for some of your causes that you're seeking. You may even be a big thinker and thinking like, hey, how can I do this as a business? Well, on that call, we're going to help you to clarify that and help you decide which route is the best route for you. And once we decide what that best route is for you, we're going to give you, excuse me, we're going to give you some of the action steps to help you to be able to go and make that happen. So if you want us to help you, and if you think that this is a good fit and we think it's a good fit, then we may invite you to become one of our new clients that we'll take on during that month. Now, that's not guaranteed, because we don't work with everybody. And for everyone, it's not a good fit. But on that call, we'll let you know if we think that you're a good fit, and we may invite you to become one of our new clients. With that said, if we work together, we're going to put you through the same system that we've used in our own business as well as with our clients. In fact, the curriculum is going to help to support you, and it's actually going to be so powerful because it's designed to ensure that learning is both transformative and that it's highly profitable for those that you're going to be winning those grants for. So whether you're doing this as a freelancer or whether you're doing this for your career, we've designed it in such a way to make sure that it is as profitable for you and as transformative and as valuable as it can possibly be. So what I want you to do right now, if you think that this is something that can help you, I really want to encourage you right now to take me up on this offer for that call and book your call. There are a couple of ways you can do this. You can go straight to call.becomeagrantwriter.com, or you can book this call by sticking around to the very end of this webinar, which is getting ready to be over in just a few minutes. And as soon as this page goes, it will take you to the page where you can actually book your call. I want to encourage you with this final quote today. There's a quote from Zig Ziglar that I love. He says that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Now let that sink in. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And I love the fact that there are many people. One such person that I had a chance to work with was Tom Cuban. Now, he came to one of our live events, and he said that after this 2-day workshop, I feel that it is a true game changer for me as far as information that I'm going to need to be very successful in the field. The skill that you learn in the workshop will not only help you with your grant writing, but will also help you with the ever important skill of life itself. And it'll make a big difference, and you'll be glad you joined. You know, it thrills me to have students like this and several others that see the bigger impact, that they're getting, yes, information about how to learn grants, but there's even a bigger piece here, the transformative piece of life itself. And if you think that it'd be right for us to connect, I would love to be a part of your journey, to talk to you for that first 45 minutes to an hour and get a chance to discuss with you your journey, to hear more, to learn more, so that we can hopefully encourage you in your pursuit in becoming a grant writer. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking to you real soon. Have a great one. Goodbye.